then there can be no honor. The way you get value is if you can look at yourself and answer this question: if I died today, how would it affect those that are close to me? If we as a church want honor in the community, we need to look at ourselves and see what it is that we offer the community before we expect respect from the community itself. See, the community is below us because of the fact that God has placed us in a spiritual authority to bring hope to those that are lost. And if you have no hopeful essence inside of you, then those around you have no reason to assess value on you because you have not brought value to their situation. You need to be one of those that when people are in need, they call you. When people have a concern, they call you. When people have a question, they call you. You should not be the individual that they run from, but the one that they run to. You ought to be the one that they thank God, not the one that they ask God to take away, because see, in this life and time, you'll discover that life is predicated upon, when you look at the grave, the insignia on the grave, it'll give the date they were born and the date they died, and the day they came in and the day they left are not the most important values of the equation. It's the dash in between. And I'm going to tell you something. If you really look at the dash in between, you ought to be like Mrs. Dash, the salt to the food that didn't have savor. You ought to be the salt of the earth that preserved somebody when they were about to commit suicide, that kept somebody when they were about to lose their mind, because those are the things that give us value. God says, if I cannot find value, I cannot give honor. The Bible says in Proverbs that a gracious woman retaineth her honor. But it also says for men and women, it says before you can get honor, I have to first find humility. Humility is one of those things that when you apply it properly, we talked about this on watch night, you become, like I called it, your own after Christmas sale. That means you discount yourself for the sake of those that can't afford you. That means that you acquiesce towards those things that you consider the most important in your life, so that you can be something to somebody who has no significance at all. We have to become like Martin Luther King. History tells us that Martin Luther King could have been an uppity high society preacher going to law school, but instead of him going up north to get into one of the high society schools, history tells us that he refused just so he could be the leader of a civil rights march.